Well, welcome to Project Buddy. I'm trying this out for the first time. I'm going to go live. So, what I'm doing today is I'm still working on my Baofeng, however you pronounce it, DM-32UV DMR radio. And so the last time I was doing my work on it, I started out just adding my analog channels, and that worked just fine. I figured that out. So my next step was, okay, I need to get some DMR radio channels in there with talk groups and load them as channels because there's some repeaters in the area that can do it. So I spent a lot of time today on this and came up with the conclusion of, so you can go to a place called Brandmeister, which you can download all the talk groups. You can go to, I think Brandmeister also had the repeaters in the area, or you could use Repeater Book. You could download from Brandmeister, from Radio ID Net, you could download the users. So one of the things I did was in the program, I went to my talk groups because I only had like 6 in there. And sorry, I'm doing this from the laptop. And so what I did is I exported those out as a CSV file. So that's sort of like an Excel sheet, but it's a comma separated value. Anyway, I took that, I put it into, I tried it on Apple numbers, but I couldn't find how I could do some edits. It wasn't working very well, and I was spending way too much time messing with it. So I put it into my Google Sheets, and that worked a little better. It tends to work a little more like Excel if you're familiar with it. So I did that. I made some modifications to, say, the talk group list. So I only did a few global. I did a few US. I sort of cleaned up the whole list because there's a huge number of talk groups. So I did that. I basically did some of the global. I did Canada because that's close to the US. I did some for Great Britain. I don't know, just have enough like of Great Britain. And I did US. So then I also condensed that list down to just certain areas. For instance, I did some that were for the US for different regions. Maybe it was for the Southeast or Mountain. But then I looked at the ones for Ohio, areas that are close to me, etc. And I loaded those onto the sheet. Anyway, I just condensed the list so I didn't have an ungodly amount of talk groups. Because when you're loading a digital contact, not only do you need to have the frequency or the receive frequency, transmit frequency, your color code, you have to put a transmit contact, which is basically a talk group. You don't have to have it all the time, but there's some that have talk groups that they're linked to. And I just thought that this way I would have all those talk groups ahead of time so I wasn't starting a new frequency channel, a channel as they say, and then, I don't have the talk group that's associated with that. I need to create one. Then you got to get out of it and go create a talk group. So I'm trying to eliminate that part of it. Well, since I could export it out as a CSV file, I thought, well, I'll just create all these, put it in a CSV file, and then upload it into the program. And it did it. I would say I didn't like the way that it looked because it had some funky characters. If you had a space, it looked like, I don't know, like you had umlauts on it from Germany or whatever. It just didn't make sense. It wasn't a space. So, like if, for instance, I usually put the talk group number and then I put space Ohio Southwest. That way, at least I would know, oh, that's the one I got to pick, because typically on repeater book, that's the way it is. So when I sort of like merged some areas together, I didn't like the way it looked. So it wasn't saving me any time, I would say. So right now I'm just sort of going through the list and doing them sort of manually. No, not sort of. I'm doing it manually. But it's working out okay. So I just thought I'd let you know where I was. I don't know how many people will even look at this one or any of the DMR stuff. But as I said in the previous one, there's tons of different videos that people can talk to you about how it is. I was just trying to tell you something of what's my methodology of how I'm going about this with this Baofeng radio. I call it Baofeng anyway, and I'm just finding that that's easier. It would have been great if creating it in a CSV file, if that would have worked. It would have saved a bunch of time, but it just wasn't looking the way that I wanted it. So anyway, so that's what I've got. So I just thought I'd give this live stream thing a try, because I was just sitting here and I was thinking, well, I might forget what I'm doing. I'm not going to, I guess I could share my screen possibly, but it's not worth doing that. And I know if I do any on the future of what it is, I need to find a way to share my screen. So there you go. So I hope this was helpful a little bit. If it is, you can comment, or if you got questions, make a comment and I'll reply back. So please, once again, like and subscribe, and leave any comments. And hope you have a great day. Trying to do something because we're supposed to get a lot of snow. Waiting for the great white death, as they say. Take care. Thanks again. Bye-bye.